Textbook knowledge always teaches us that the Earth we live in has many layers like this. But what if reality is completely different from the theories we have learned? What we know about the Earth we live on is probably too limited. We crave to collect data sources about the mysteries of outer space, while there is still no exact answer about whether the Earth is a solid mass or not. Like cultures around the world, there are myths about a mysterious underground kingdom. That kingdom is separate from both the modern and ancient worlds. Their people hid themselves from both sunlight and the brutality of primitive humans. Throughout the course of history, they possessed a culture that flourished in a large space within the Earth. Many people are curious about that civilization because of its mysteries, like a magnet attracting human attention. Ancient knowledge may be forgotten in the flow of time, but the existence of a civilization with advanced technology will still be there, waiting for human discovery. The place we are talking about is the underground city of Agartha. Is there really such a modern and advanced place hidden in the core of the Earth? Let's find the answer in our video today, titled "The Mystery of Civilization Hidden Under the Earth's Crust." Before enjoying the main content, quickly support the producers of this video by clicking like and subscribing to the channel. Thank you. We will start now. Explorers have always believed that Agartha is a completely real place. In fact, theories that our Earth is an empty shell have existed for thousands of years in the stories of ancient civilizations. Nearly every ancient society has stories of an underground world where creatures with extraordinary powers live. Agartha may be just one name among dozens of different names for a large kingdom with millions of people living, mentioned in ancient legends. That place is directly connected to the Earth's surface by a vast tunnel. Indian religions refer to a place called Patala, meaning the place under the earth. This place is described as a beautiful land with many hills and green rivers. Many people believe that it is the real Garden of Eden, where Adam and Eve once lived. Because of violating the forbidden fruit, God decided to chase the two people to the surface of the earth. In ancient texts of the Mayan civilization, the underworld named Shanba was mentioned many times. It is a civilization created by two twin brothers. After that, they went to the surface to live. In the Aztec culture, they lived in 7 underground caves before coming to the surface, and researchers are constantly searching for these 7 caves. Underground civilizations also appear many times in the legends of Native Americans and Africans. The similarity of these stories is that they all refer to advanced underground civilizations, completely separate from human life. The Sumerians called it Kur, where the souls of the dead dwell. Those gloomy places are dark, cold caves, deep underground, ruled by the goddess Ereshkigal. In Sumerian culture, it was a dark version of the ground they lived on, and the only food there was dust. The Babylonians also had a similar version of darkness in their culture, called Irkala. Distant cultures may be quite challenging to the human imagination, but Chinese civilization is different. Geographic proximity and historical collisions have probably made Chinese civilization closer to us. To put it simply, Kur or Irkala is hell in Chinese culture. That is where the king of hell and the gods reside. They govern life and death on Earth, and in hell, life is basically quite similar to Earth. In most of the large and small civilizations that have spread across our continent since ancient times, legends about the underground world have always had a certain place. Clearly, these are no coincidences. In the distant days of human history, geographical distance was the only obstacle to the interference of civilizations. So, do underground worlds really exist? Before hell became a concept that caused fear in humans, it was a place where gods lived. They created advanced technologies, promoting the development of primitive human civilization. Like the myth of the Great Flood, the legend of the underground civilization is also repeated in many civilizations. The story of Agartha needs concrete evidence and witnesses to make us believe. And fortunately, researchers have both. This is a Swedish psychic named Mariana Stjernvall. She claimed that she had come into contact with an Agartha through meditation. It sounds absurd, but this exposure was even turned into a book by Mariana Stjernvall. This Agartha person told her about the shape of the world in the center of the earth. This Agartha's name is Tim. He was originally from the surface of the earth, an American, living in Seattle in the 60s of the 20th century. One day, while transporting goods by sea, a fierce wave struck. The boat capsized. Tim fell into the water. He didn't know how much time had passed. He vaguely felt like someone was pulling him onto a boat. The boat seemed to go through a dimly lit tunnel, finally docking in a small port. When Tim fully regained consciousness, he found that everything around him was strange because the architecture of the buildings there he had never seen before. The houses are all round and have no roof. The house construction material looks like marble, emitting a faint light. This type of light is neither like sunlight nor lamplight, but is a very gentle light. The streets are all golden, and in the distance there is a tall palace. Tim felt so strange. The person next to him also told him that this place was the Agartha world inside the earth. At this time, Tim realized that his benefactor was a very kind-looking man. He has long white hair and wears a medieval-like robe. Tim stammered his thanks to that man and expressed his hope that he would quickly bring him back because he still had his family there. The white-haired man agreed, but also hoped Tim could tell the people on the ground that the Agartha continent was real, not a rumor. Tim immediately agreed. That man also gave Tim a whistle, saying that if he wanted to go to the world inside the earth, he should blow on this whistle. People on the surface will not be able to hear the siren, but people in the underground world will hear it, and they will send someone to pick it up. Tim also said that if he could send someone into the world of the Earth's core, the only requirement is that the person must believe that Agartha exists. After that, Tim was brought to the front door of a very long tunnel. When he exited the tunnel, he suddenly found himself standing under Mount Shasta in California. At this time, the neighbor asked about his accident. He heard that all the crew members died, so why did he return? Tim is an honest person. He recounted his entire experience to his neighbor. The neighbor heard Tim speak, looked at his eyes, saw that there was something unusual, and thought he looked like a mentally ill person. Tim's miraculous return after the accident spread throughout the area. A reporter heard about Tim's story and quickly came to interview him, but no one believed what he said. Tim was extremely disappointed, and he suddenly thought that he still had only one relative left, which was his grandmother living in Sweden. He immediately flew to Sweden. Grandmother saw her only grandchild and was extremely moved. She thought he was no longer alive, but now he appeared before her. Tim hesitantly recounted his own experience. As he spoke, he worriedly observed his grandmother's expression, worried that she would consider him crazy. The result was that before Tim could finish, Grandma clapped her hands on her thighs and loudly said, "I believe in you." Because my grandmother used to be a spiritualist and had contact with beings that normal people cannot see. Then, Tim used a special method to contact Miss Mariana. During meditation, he narrated the entire story to Mariana, and she wrote down the entire experience in meditation. This book is called Agartha, the World Within the Earth's Core. So in the end, is Mariana's book simply a fantasy novel or completely true? In fact, scientific evidence will probably make us doubt and believe that Agartha really exists. Many researchers always believe in the hollow Earth theory. They always believe that the Earth's core is where Agartha exists, and this theory is completely contrary to what we have been learning in books. Hollow Earth is a set of theories that the Earth contains empty space, becoming a hot topic of discussion many centuries ago. The vast, never-before-explored underground caves have reinforced the hollow Earth theory of many researchers. The idea behind this theory is that the Earth is actually hollow inside, and that it is surrounded by more land and water than on the surface, with a separate ecosystem maintained by the sun represented as the Earth's core. Land. The 2,400 kilometers thick Earth's crust is what separates what has been described as a separate civilization from us living outside the crust. The origin of this theory was promoted by Jules Verne's famous novel, Journey to the Center of the Earth, published in 1864. As this book became more and more popular, some people actually considered it not a novel, but as if it were actually stating new findings. The first evidence of this was published at the end of the 19th century by a researcher in the field of geography. The book is titled Physical Geography, written by Arnoldo de Azevedo, who writes about a mysterious world beneath our feet. He argued that scientists of the time knew nothing about what lay underground. The author goes on to say that scientists only come up with theories and hypotheses without any hard evidence to determine reliability. Azevedo also put forward his own scientific theory behind this theory. When Earth was still forming as a planet, the Earth's core was just soft lava, and due to the centrifugal speed, the planet rotated. Around him, lava from the center or core of the Earth was forced to settle. Therefore, the Earth seems to be stretched by centrifugal force. At the poles, the Earth is lower, and holes in the center have also formed. Believe it or not, there is actually a calculation that supports this theory. The total surface area of our planet is 431.5 million kilometers, which would create a weight 6 times greater than the actual weight of Earth. It is 5.972 times 10 to the power of 24 kilograms. This means that the Earth could resemble this theory. In fact, this theory was mentioned in 1692 by Edmund Halley, a researcher in astrology and mathematics from Oxford University. He proposed the idea that Earth is actually a hollow planet. In the early 20th century, this theory really received the attention of scholars from many different fields. A team of Russian scientists has discovered that the magnetic North Pole is not represented by a single point, but by a line nearly 1,500 kilometers long, passing through the polar region all the way to the Taimyr Peninsula from Siberia. There have been astronomers and mathematicians who support the hollow Earth theory. One of them is Dr. Edmund Halley, the British royal astronomer, who was credited with discovering Halley's Comet. He believes that the Earth we live on does not have a solid core inside, but has many layers of empty space interspersed with solid space. Halley believes that auroral halos are gases escaping from empty spaces inside the Earth. This means there will be passages into Agartha in the North and South Poles. What's more interesting is that even the eminent scientist Newton himself believed in this hypothesis at first. Obviously, this theory does not receive support from scientists. They thought this was crazy, but it seems that things have gradually improved since the 18th century. This is the time when a man named John Cleves Sims introduced the Sims hole theory. He believes that the Earth is hollow and we can live inside it, not just on the surface like humans do. Perhaps the story of U.S. Navy Admiral Richard Evelyn Byrd's underground exploration is the clearest evidence of the hollow Earth theory. The hypothesis supported by many scientists is that the expedition to the Earth's core seems to only exist in fairy tales. Taking place in February 1947, former U.S. Navy Admiral Richard Evelyn Byrd led an expedition into the interior of the Earth through a passage in the Arctic. The deeper he went inside, the more overwhelmed Byrd was by the scene. On December 24, 1965, his diary about his exploration of the underground world was published. He recorded in his diary, "In front of me are valleys covered with green, dense trees. In the heart of the valley there are also small streams with gurgling water flowing through. Just that, this place also has a large number of extinct animal and plant species." Byrd sees creatures that went extinct on Earth a long time ago, like dinosaurs and mammoths. On the ceiling of the cave, it is like a sky with flying objects that have the ability to float in the air in a very strange way. Glowing, saucer-shaped spaceships are floating above with strange symbols and symbols on the body of the spaceship. The place looked like a large military base, which overwhelmed Byrd. He wrote in his diary, "This is a land in the Arctic. It is a huge and extremely mysterious base." What was more surprising was that when his expedition entered this land, suddenly the Byrd ship's radio broadcast a hoarse voice with a slight Nordic or German accent. "Welcome, Admiral. Has come to our land. Where is this? What's going on?" A series of questions continuously arose in the experienced pilot's mind. The strange stories didn't end there. Just like the story Tim told before, Bird was led deep underground by a tall blonde man to meet the owner of that place. These people told him that this was the underground world called Aryan. They have an extremely high level of technology, far superior to humans on the ground. They still do not intend to come into contact with the outside world, but since the United States dropped 2 atomic bombs on 2 cities in Japan during World War II, they have realized that the weapons humans hold are very important. Could destroy the entire surface world while also affecting their underground world. They then sent planes to the territories of powers possessing these destructive weapons to convey messages, but did not get a positive response. These aircraft were attacked by human fighters. At the end of the expedition and return, Bird had a meeting with the U.S. Department of Defense. All information about the meeting was recorded in detail, and a report was presented to current President Truman. He was also asked by relevant agencies to keep it secret. To date, there are many opinions refuting what was recorded in Bird's diary. Scientists believe that the completely hollow structure inside the Earth is energetically inaccurate. Ordinary matter cannot support massive objects like the Earth against gravity. If there really were people or worlds underground, then the creatures here would experience less gravity than outside the Earth, and they would live almost in a zero-gravity environment. And if the Earth is hollow, its mass will be very small and cannot have the mass it has now. If Bird's diary entries are true, then the experience of exploring the mysteries of Earth is truly exciting. To this day, no one can determine whether what was written in Bird's diary is true or not, because most of the information has been strictly kept confidential by the U.S. Department of Defense. However, if what is written in that diary is true, it will certainly be a thrilling expedition, stimulating the desire to discover the mysteries of the world inside the Earth.